You shouldn't even acknowledge Black History Month. That's like saying, ooh, let's do this for the special people. You should be educating yourselves all year round. That's treating you like the Easter Bunny. That's treating you like Santa Claus. Black History Month. Why ain't White History Month? Why you don't got White History Month? If we're all equal, why isn't there White History Month? That's a 7. You ever thought about that? Well, why can't they be educated on their history? Huh? What's wrong with that? But they got you a special month like you the Easter Bunny. True equality is treating everyone the same. Not like, ooh, these the special people. That's racism. Ooh, we got to have a holiday for them. We got to have a month for them. That's condescending and racist. I know. You don't see it. And keeping you reminded of the foolishness. Some would say it's psychological control. Making you feel inferior every time Black History Month come around, showing you what they did. Just reminding you what they did. When you can just educate yourself all year round. What does it really do anyway? What does it do? Ain't nobody holding no meaningful festivals. Ain't nobody really doing nothing. Ain't nobody been doing nothing. The Black community ain't even utilized that properly. You ain't utilized that properly. Come on, man. That should have been way more. If it's gonna be there, utilize it properly. It's time for us to get tough skin and grow up. Somebody can call me a nigga as long as you don't put your hands on me. Okay? You can say whatever you want. But at this point in 2022, you can't hurt me calling me no nigga. You can't hurt me calling me no nigga. They doing that. They was doing that 100 years ago. How you gonna hurt me doing that? They were calling my ancestors that well over 100 years ago. And I'm still offended? At this point, I'm just looking at you. I'm just looking at you. Okay? You can't offend me by mere words. You can't offend me that way. That's how we stay stuck. Okay, you still offended at that. You should be now offended at the fact that your community, the ghetto, is still here. Not the word nigga. You should be offended at the fact that there is still ghettos. Well, the Mexicans don't got ghettos. For their whole community, they got ghettos. The Asians don't have ghettos here. Not really. White people, when they're in the ghetto, you know what they're called? White trash. So what that tell you how America see people in the ghetto? As trash. When white people are in the ghetto or in poverty, they're called white trash. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. So that tells you how these people think about us. If you're in poverty, they consider you trash. If they consider their own trash, they the one made the term up. Black people didn't start calling white people white trash. Did black people start doing that? Yeah, that's white trash over there. You ain't heard no black man talking about that's white trash. So who started that? White people looking at their own people in poverty and considering them trash. So what does that tell you about how they see you if you in poverty? You can't be slow following me, man. Okay? You can't be slow. You got to be alert. You got to use your mind. You got to think. Because there's some rude awakenings coming. There's some very rude awakenings coming. I don't know what to tell you who's coming next. after Joe Biden, because he ain't getting a second term. He can forget that. So you know what's probably going to happen? You're probably going to get a Republican. I hate to tell you, you ain't got no Democrat lined up. I don't vote anymore. I'm just showing you what's going to happen. As far as this goes, I guess you can call me a commentator. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. You're not going to probably get a Democrat. They go by charisma and drip, sauce, swag. This is how people get in office. Donald Trump, all charismatic. That's how they get you. The greatest or the most evil leaders have all mostly been charismatic people. That's what people go after. That's what human beings go after. They go after charisma. If you got charisma, that's what they go after. Joe Biden has no charisma. Donald Trump, you might not like him, but he has an evil charisma. He does. And that's why he has a following. Do you see Joe Biden with a following? Is there any Biden supporters? Man, come on, man. Obama, that's charisma. Bill Clinton, playing a saxophone, that's charisma. Charisma is part of most leaders that have the magic, that have that magic touch. If you don't have that charisma, you're probably not going to be effective or influential. It's part of the makeup. It's part of the design of the leader. That's how you know who shouldn't be a leader. You ain't got no charisma. That's probably a sign that you shouldn't be a leader. Well, I don't know any bland, mediocre people that God chose to raise up that just stale as an old cracker, but God called you to do it. You stale as an old cracker, but God called you to do that. You stale as they come, but you, that's your destiny. That part. One of the signs, most of the times, I'm not saying every time, is charisma. That's how you know, okay, yeah, that person's a leader. Somebody stale and all of that, How you stale and you just now getting started? That part. Huh? So that being said, Biden is not probably even gonna get reelected. He ain't gonna get reelected, which means the Republicans are going. Even if they don't put Trump in there, they're gonna put somebody else in. They're gonna put somebody else in there. And I say all that to say this: the black community, you're gonna be in trouble when they get another Republican in there, because what the world is coming to is they gonna find a Republican that has no love for the black community. That's what's gonna happen. They gonna find a cold-hearted, I'm talking about cold as an Arctic ocean, no love. They gonna use your flaws against you like your enemies will do. They gonna point out the obvious like your enemies will do. And unfortunately, that's why I'm warning you of. You have a big obvious problem of killing each other. And what the Republicans or a cold-hearted person is gonna do is just incarcerate the whole community. Bring the whole community into captivity because it's too out of control. And you can't say racism. That's the crazy part, the spooky part. How you gonna say racism when you actually are killing each other? I mean, really? Who are you going to convince that it's racism? When you actually are killing each other. Killing each other. And you worried about what the white man said on social media. You worried about what these white folks say out here on social media. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying, though? Because if it was white people doing what we doing to each other, you would have been rebelled and you would have been started a war. If white people were coming over in the hood, shooting and killing kids and stuff like that, drive-bys, let's just say like 2 gangs, rival gangs. And if white people were coming over in the black neighborhoods, modern day, right now, shooting in every city, shooting black people, the revolution would have been started. You would have been went over there and wiped them out. You would have started killing them in massive amounts. I know you would. Young folks included. Young people included. You would have been and got your SKS, and you would have been shot a couple white people. You don't been most average black people would have bodies. You would have had a couple bodies. If that was going on, most of us would have a couple bodies. A couple bodies under our belt. But when we do it to ourselves, you see what it is? You see what it is? Nothing happens. No correction comes. And you say, and you want people done been soft on you long enough. I had somebody tell me, "Oh, you being too hard on your people." I'm like, how am I being too hard on them? So what I supposed to be? Tell me what I supposed to be. That's what I'm saying. Now you see what I'm saying. What I supposed to be then? What do I supposed to be? When you at this point are killing each other. Now, that's one thing. If the white man was doing it, then I can instruct you, inform you, and be with you. And I will have no chastisement to give you. But if you're killing each other, what a chastisement supposed to go to? To the white man? I'm supposed to chastise him for how you killing each other. Come on, make it make sense now. So what's supposed to be done then? If grown men cannot lead us and guide us, if grown men cannot make decisions to not kill their own people after they seen the history of how white people treated us, then what's supposed to be done? You should have a better heart towards your own people, knowing how white people treated us. Huh? And you expect me to what? Start another movement of black love? When you got black hate, black on black hate? Start another movement of black love when you got black on black hate? Okay. Literally for the whole country, as far as the whole environment, it has to all start over. You have to reset America. I know you don't want to hear it like that, do you? I'm going to do a video on it too. You got to reset America. You got to reset America. Because they still got you in the ghetto. Look, Mexicans, no disrespect, but they're a perfect example of how America can help people get out the ghetto. The average Mexican neighborhood is not in poverty. Look at it for what it is. They got Mexican restaurants. You don't think that feeds the community? You don't think they feed their own people with those restaurants? You don't think they have thousands of dollars from those restaurants? Hundreds of thousands of dollars from those restaurants? You don't think so? So what, they got tens of thousands of dollars? Yearly, annually, from a store, from a restaurant. Use your brains. They have their own flourished communities, and no one said anything because they didn't want, this is what I personally believe, they didn't want the black community to recognize it. They didn't want you to recognize that the Mexican community has flourished communities in America, and you still in the ghetto. Most Mexican communities, I've been all around the country. I've been in San Francisco. I've been in Los Angeles. I've been in Florida. I've been all around the country. And Mexicans do not really have ghettos. They do have poverty neighborhoods, a little bit. But it's not even comparable to the black community. They have more middle class like neighborhoods. So why hasn't the American, you know who they got, you know how they got that done? With the American government. The American government gave them programs. And you don't want to hear this, but you know why they was more willing to help them? Because all of them gonna work. All of them are going to work. All of them are going to work and do something in the American community. And the American government decided to utilize that and help them with programs. Because you ever thought about how they come straight over here and they don't go to the black ghettos? They come over here with no money, lint in their pocket. They have lint in their pocket. How do they end up in a middle class like neighborhood? They don't have to go to a ghetto. They ain't got no money. Why they ain't got to go to the ghetto? They coming straight to America, not going to a ghetto. They come up among themselves. That's what it is. And the government has put programs in place, financial programs, grant programs, business programs for their people. But they haven't given you any of those programs. You know why? Because they figure like you wouldn't utilize it properly. They figure it would be a mess. Oh, you don't want to accept that, do you? So it's still, all in all, that's part of it. We got to get ourselves together. But that's not an excuse for the American government. They should have given them opportunities and let us fall on our face and then say, see, can't help those black people. That's what I would have did. I said, okay, I give you opportunities. I give you business grants. I give you all what you want. And when you fall on your face, you can't say I ain't trying to help you. That's what I would do. And so you can clearly see, hey, it ain't me. It's you. It's your community. Y'all can't get together and do nothing. And you can't blame me. But they didn't make it to that step. See, that would have been the wise thing to do. Because smart people like me going to look and say, hey, the Mexicans basically got a Chinatown. That's China. Okay, if you see a Mexican neighborhood, they got the Mexican restaurants, Mexican grocery stores, Mexican phone stores, Mexican money order stores. That is the equivalent of a Chinatown. For people that don't know what a Chinatown is where in any great metropolis, a part of town where Chinese people have their businesses, their restaurants, their community, and it flourishes outside of the main part of the metropolis. They got their own little town. They don't have to go into the main part of the city. They making their money. They got their stores. They got their culture. Boom. They ain't got to go nowhere. That's what the Mexicans have now as well. They got their culture. You hear their music. You hear that they got their everything. And I'm not hating. I'm just stating where it is and what it should be. And if you've been here, your ancestors been here as African Americans, they were enslaved, then you should have Africa Town. You got Chinatown, you got Mexican Town. Why you ain't got Africa Town? Where people can see your culture reflected. They can see your stores. They can see different tribes of Africa. And this would therefore install more pride for the African American community for each other. Okay? It will install more pride more African pride from the African American community towards the African American community. So in other words, it would install more pride for each other. You will have more African pride, then you will have more love for each other, more respect for each other, when you can see all the tribes reflected in Africa Town. So it wouldn't be just the Ethiopians. It would be everybody. It would be every tribe. And then it reflected the food and everything. Now you see what I'm saying? All of that, all the tribes reflected in Africa Town. And whoever in whatever great metropolis you in, if let's say you're in Kansas City and for whatever reason there's more Ethiopians, so then that's going to be reflected in the Africa town in Kansas City. You see what I'm saying? You go to Atlanta, and let's just say it's more Nigerians there. In Africa town in Atlanta, Nigerians are going to dominate mostly, but they're going to have, you're going to have every tribe represented there, at least through the culture, at least through information, at least through the food. But whoever dominates that metropolis, that city, whatever tribe, African tribe dominates and lives there, most of their people lives there. And I'm saying African Americans. Okay, you realize in this area, there's more Nigerians than anything. And I'm talking about African American blood, not people who migrated from Nigeria. We find out that in most of the African Americans here in this city, for whatever reason, the real people who settled here are more Nigerian. So guess what? That's going to reflect in the Africa town in Atlanta. And you would therefore, and how I feel, you would therefore install more pride in the people for their own people. You know, and that's that's what needs to be. That's what should have been done. But the bottom line is, man, if we don't have equality, when you see Mexicans have their own Mexican town, you have Chinese have their own Chinatown, and you should have had that first. If anybody, you should have had China. You should have had a Chinatown before the Chinese did. You know, you're not looking at for what it is. It's you being separated from the white man. The white man said, okay, the Chinese, he ain't got to be up our butts. He ain't got to come in our neighborhoods. We're gonna let him go over there and have his own town in each city. That's what he did. They probably didn't really want him over there. But he wanna monitor you. You know how he monitors you? You know how he has rights to monitor you? Through the police. See, that's why the crime is all deception. Okay, you know, how can we keep an eye on these black people? Well, keep them in crime. We'll have a good excuse to go over there. Because what if they left you alone in your neighborhoods? That's a 7. You know what you would become? Even if it was the ghetto. You would be out of the days of being here in America. Then you would start the spiritual part, the spiritual connection in your neighborhoods. But you can't do that when you got the police running around everywhere. That's a way of monitoring you. So crime is a controlled deception to keep them watching and monitoring you. You know what I mean? It's the reason it's the excuse they have. You know, and so that's what you have to consider, is that everyone has everything over you, and here you are, still in the ghetto. So that's how you know they don't. The ghetto should have been gone in the 80s. The ghetto should have been gone in the 80s and on into the 90s, and by the year 2000, 22 years ago, there shouldn't even been no ghettos. That's a thing of the past. You don't even see it though, do you? Okay. But it's used to monitor you. It's used to control you. And it's no other way to see it. It's like I said, it would install more pride in you as a people. You don't know this. Okay? No one has thought of it. Have you heard anybody else say you should have an Africa town? The equivalent of a Chinatown. I haven't heard anybody say that. Have you heard anybody else say that Mexicans already have a Chinatown? I haven't heard anybody say that. That's what I'm saying. So, but until we correct each other and really, really, really correct each other, then it's not gonna work as people think it's gonna work, because now at this point, people are too crazy. They're shooting each other. They don't care. They're getting high. They got pride, but they don't have any substance. That when you have pride beyond your color, it should be based on your information and the things that you're educated on. If you're not educated, why how far can pride go? This is important. The Bible says God's people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. So what that means, that even God and how he made me and how he esteemed me and everything, all of that is destroyed if I don't educate myself. So you will be nothing if you're destroyed. Therefore, education keeps you afloat. And being uneducated will be the cause of shipwreck. That's even biblical. But yet you have people that pride themselves on who they are, and they out here with no education. They out here uninformed. See, when people hear education, you think grade school. I'm trying to get you out. Education does not mean grade school. I'm not talking about social studies, science, and mathematics. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being informed on things around you, being informed of everything, including self. That's the best way I could tell you with education. So if you're not informed of everything around you and things in within your community, then how will you survive? How will you survive? How will you survive with this arrogance, pious, we the best kind of attitude? How long is that gonna last before total chaos break out? That we the best attitude, let's check him out kind of attitude. You don't need to check me out. You need to check yourself out. And then you won't be destroyed. Because right now you're not checking yourself out, and you ain't informing nobody else to check them out. And what's gonna happen is the white man, he's gonna get tired, and he's gonna just incarcerate the whole community. And you're gonna be talking about they coming for us. You should have been communicated correction to your community. You should have been communicated correction for your own integrity. See, we got to take the good. You got to take the good with the bad. You can't just take the good and have these black award shows and that's it. Oh, yeah, we'll pride ourselves on this part, but we ain't going to correct that part. That's what it looks like. Okay, someone does something great, good, you give them awards. That's great. But you got to take the good with the bad. And you're not doing that. You're taking the good only. Telling people to do better. How you think that's going to change a black man? Telling him to do better? Are you serious? No one's that powerful to just say do better and you do better. Now, if it was Jesus Christ, now maybe. But he is telling you to do better through his word. But let's just say in person. Now, if Jesus Christ said do better, then everybody feel the need to like, yeah, But if God don't tell you to do better, if you don't have Jesus Christ telling you that, and you have mere humans telling you that, how's that gonna change anything? Because I'm not, look, I'm not no one's Messiah or Savior. I'm telling you right now. I'm gonna tell you the state and what the situation is with me. The situation is with me is that the American community broke my constitutional rights. Over 5 years, I count that they have broke my constitutional rights. I don't have any plans of uh, doing anything as far as a position per se until that wrong is made right. If that is not made right, I have no intentions, I'm just letting you know, of sidestepping that, just letting that go. No way. 5 years, not so. So that's the situation that you don't know about. Your American community broke my constitutional rights through gang stalking, excessive surveillance, excessive politics among the community, hearsay, defamation, extreme defamations, extreme social defamation, extreme cultural defamation from the culture. And so why would I just not want my bag? You know, I'm just being honest. Why you don't think that's what I want first? And then you talk to a man. You make a wrong right, and then you talk to a man. You don't sit up and insult my intelligence and try to talk to me when you know you've been breaking my constitutional rights for the past 5 years. You're not going to get past